Welcome back to the LilyGrace Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so excited about today's guest. Her name's Cindy, and she's on to talk to us today about her blog, Seacoast Moms, and just about her life in general because she's so inspiring. I was talking to her just a minute ago, and I can't even wait to get into it. So the one question I always start off with is, what defines your lifestyle?
I was thinking, actually, somebody asked me that kind of a question the other day. And first of all, thanks for inviting me on.
Anytime.
And as I said, I really love listening to your voice. You have an amazing, soothing, nice, gentle voice, and I really like it. So I'm gonna try to match it. No, I'm kidding. The question was, what's one thing that defines my lifestyle?
Yeah, or multiple things.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking about that the other day, and I was, the one thing I said I liked about you is your consistency. And I feel that I see that in myself also, that I am consistent about my own personal lifestyle. Whether I put it out there on social media or in publication, that I'm very consistent about my day-to-day living, my own self-care, and how I parent my children, all the while trying to evolve and be better at the same time. But my consistency, I would say, in my own lifestyle, my consistency is what defines my lifestyle.
I love that. I love that. And I thank you for pointing that out about myself, because sometimes you know how it is. It's kind of grueling to keep up with the consistency sometimes, but I think it's so important to have, and like I see it in you as well. And it's so like fun to meet similar people. And I think that's a great way to define it. So
Thanks.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bit about your background? Like, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Things like that.
Yes. So I grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, and I am Korean by ethnicity. And so people ask, and the only reason why I answered it those two ways is because it's been, quite a learning experience when people say, what is your background? Where are you from, kind of thing. So I know what you mean, because I know we had talked prior to that, but I wanted to just, clarify that, my ethnicity is Korean. I grew up and was raised in the United States in Mansfield, Ohio. And I mean, we'll get into that whole, that topic later, but I I just felt like I needed to explain that whole thing. But anyway, so I grew up in Ohio, and then I was a very good student, and I was also very adventurous. And I also was in a really, it was a wonderful church and a wonderful private school, but it was very suppressing and stifling to me. Yes. And so I was very rebellious. It was a fundamentalist Christian church and school, and I was tired of all the rules. So I said, I'm out of here. So I walked into the recruiter's office of the Air Force recruiter's office and took a test and joined the Air Force.
Wow. I would have not have guessed that. That's so cool.
Well, it wasn't cool at the time to my mom and my dad, and it also wasn't cool at the time to some of the college scholarships that I had, which I was still, I just was unsure of what I wanted to do. And, I was quite accomplished in piano, and I knew I didn't want to go to school to be a music major. And so I was just really confused. So I just decided to get crazy and join the military. So that was my start. But and then did I answer your question about so then that was my start.
Wow, that is so interesting. Part of my dad's family lives in Ohio, so that's funny that you ended up back or in New England. So how did that journey take you to kind of where you are today? How did you end up in New Hampshire?
Oh my gosh, you ask such the best questions. Okay, so so my story's long, but I'm gonna just kind of try to shorten it. I was in the Air Force and stationed in Montana. And my firstborn son, his father's family lived in Massachusetts. And so when both of us got out of the Air Force, we were looking for jobs and school, what should we do? So we came up here. And then I decided to go to dental hygiene school. And I
Okay.
was a dental technician in the Air Force. And then I decided to go to dental hygiene school. And so I did. And
Interesting. So you made it back here. And then now you do a blog, right?
yeah, so now, I mean, so then there was this time where I was just working in dental hygiene, and my husband owned a karate school in Tewksbury, Mass.
Hmm.
And then he owned another martial arts school, um, a Krav Maga school. Krav Maga is an Israeli form of martial arts
Hmm.
and self-defense and school. And then he decided to join the army. So my husband and I are both pretty adventurous slash crazy people, maybe. So he joined the army, and then that's when we started moving. We started moving everywhere. So we lived in Georgia, and then we lived in the DC area in Fairfax, Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we moved to Mass for us. After he got out of the army, we moved back to Mass in Southborough, which I loved it down there. Um, and then we decided, where do we want to live? Because he could work remotely. And we flew to North Carolina, Florida, and my husband's from Salem, New Hampshire. And so we knew this area, but he had never lived in this area. And so in the end, we decided that we wanted to settle in the Seacoast because of the variety. And the SAU 16 school system at that time was the best around.
Yeah.
We love the ocean, hence the whole East Coast,
Me
I
too.
do. Oh yeah. I mean, I just can't even say how so thankful I am to live here. I do wish there's lots of parts of me that wish I was in Florida a lot of the time of the year. But yeah, so because he loves to hike, so he can get to the mountains, and
True.
so here we are. And we're here by choice, and thankfully his work has supported that.
Wow, that is so interesting. That's so funny because I just moved from New Hampshire to Mass, but I'll probably sometimes I see myself in like northern Mass or like back in New Hampshire on the Seacoast because I love Rye, I love Portsmouth, I love that area. Oh, I love the sea. So I totally see where you're coming from. And you
Yeah.
use the hashtag see beauty in everyone. And you talk about in your Instagram bio as kids and the pandemic tried to take your identity. Can you talk to us about that? I think that stuck out to me so much, and I'm sure it does to everyone who follows you. Where did that come from?
Oh my gosh. There was a lot of profound, both, questions that should have profound answers to them. And I always feel like I really fall short. I don't give profound answers because honestly, the stuff that I put out there is not really well thought out, to be quite honest. I don't have a good home business, strategy going on, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. But to answer your question about that specific phrase, it just happened when I was looking at the bio of some people, and my bio was just not accurately reflecting what I was doing. It was all about business, and at that time, and right now I'm really not that active in business, and so I was just honest, and I just said, I don't even know what it says. I remember writing it in the evening and just saying, like, I got to change this because people are expecting testimonial advertising, and I'm expecting myself to, whatever I put out there publicly, I should be working toward. And at that time I wasn't. So and the truth is that it was trying to take over my identity.
Yeah, no, honestly, I love it. And she'll give her Instagram handle at the end, but I think your content is hilarious. There's a lightheartedness to it.
Yeah.
And I think not an attitude, but just your like personality in general is just so fun. And that comes through in your words and your verbiage, which is so cool. And
well, I better give it now. I better give it now in case anybody hangs up, because it's at See Beauty, like SEE Beauty in everyone.
Okay.
At See, and all across all the platforms, not all,
okay.
only on Facebook
Perfect.
and Instagram.
Yeah, no, actually that's probably good just in case, but you guys could you should keep listening.
I know, definitely keep listening because I'm probably going to say something that's embarrassing, as I usually do in these kinds of things.
That's so funny. So just in general, when did you start your blog and how did you start it?
When did I start it? I think it was 2019.
Okay.
Fall of 2019. Maybe it was 2018. Lots of years are running together.
Mm-hmm.
But I really had a great start. And the reason why I wanted to do it is because I had been on Instagram with my daughter. Actually, the name Sea Beauty and Everyone was not my idea. It was my daughter and I back on a vacation in Tennessee. It was my mom's last vacation that she ever took. And I think that Rachel was in middle school. So at that time we said, okay, you can have an Instagram account. And so we tried, so she and I did it together, and my mom had gone to bed. And so we were sitting there trying to think of like what her handle should be. And she came up with that. Yeah. And so she came up with that. And of course it was my account because, as a parent, I had to monitor it. She was still too young. And then, I started being on more and I enjoyed it so much. At the same time, I would just share the things that I know and sort of like influence naturally in real life. And so I decided to just merge the two and put whatever I know or use or do out there. Mm-hmm. And Rachel wanted her privacy, so she got her own Instagram account and gave me this one, and I love the name, so I kept it.
That's so cute. That is such a cute story of how it like began, and like the Sea Beauty and Everyone. I think it's such a simple but powerful message, and I think it gets across what you want it to, which is great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just in general, like, who is your ideal reader? Like, what's the mission that you're trying to get across to your readers?
I know this question because I'll do a few business seminars and they say, who's your target audience and all of this. And I just say women. I don't want to like pinpoint, I think women are. And I also know I have, male friends like from high school that see me on there. And I think that everybody in general just thinks it's cool that, people are just out there sharing stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if I were to really think back about, if I look back on what shows on the Instagram info, what are those called? Statistics, like or whatever.
Insights, yeah.
The insights. It's women, age 20s, all the way up to like, what's the bracket, 60s or something like that? 60s. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Mm-hmm. I like that you say that because I think that comes across. And also too, like when people ask me too, I'm like, anyone who's passionate about what they do, whatever age they are, whatever, and who likes design, who likes learning, like that's kind of my audience. So yeah, no, that's a really good answer because it doesn't have to be just this one type of person. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And get into some specifics, like what are your blog posts about? Like tell us a little bit more about your content if people haven't seen your blog yet.
Okay. Well, if you go to my blog right now, it's really loaded with lately. I wrote an article for Seacoast Moms that talked about my experience in the food store. It was a racist experience. So that sort of, because of Allison Dudas, who owns Seacoast Moms, because of that platform, I started to be noticed for my voice regarding that article.